All right.
Everybody, yo, it's two
You.
Dynamite dudes with attitude. It's me, Dominic D'Angelo of WrestleZone.com, and none other than my degenerate brother, Marcus, sitting in front of his highly esteemed collection of WCW figures. Please, yes, Marcus, take the time to present them to the viewers.
Oh, I spilled my sake.
Oh no! Listen,
Well, I
I'm
gotta
feeling very.
cut this out. I have to clean up.
No, I'm leaving it. It's staying.
Horrible.
Listen, hey, I'm gonna riff on here, Marcus. I'm riffing while you're gone. Listen, guys, I'm feeling very Canadian today. I have an RJ City coffee mug. I am drinking Tim Hortons coffee, and I'm trying to make a pitch to interview Renee Young and talk about the Vegas Knights. So I'm wearing a Canadian kind of base hat, even though it's Las Vegas. So Renee Young's Canadian, so hey, she loves hockey. I want to talk hockey. Let's do it. So, yeah, Marcus, I made my Canadian pitch while you were gone. Did you hear any of it?
I did a shameful pitch.
Shameful. But what a shameful brother I have because you can't control your drinking.
I was trying to pull a Hangman Page and be smooth with my alcohol, but no can do.
No can do. Oh man, what a segue, Marcus. This is
like
Dynamite first here. Is you are taking over hosting duties today. So how do you feel? Do you feel confident coming into this? Do you have a game plan?
Well, Dom, I'm just flattered to have the opportunity. The staff believes in me, teammates believe in me, so I'm happy to get in there and just give it my best. You like that generic answer like they give after the football games, Dom?
Yeah, football's back, so what perfect timing that is.
I would have made a great quarterback. I've just been like, I love my coach, love my teammates. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, Marcus, there's a lot more to going to quarterbacking than just talking in front of the media.
I don't think so, Dom. In any case, this is my show now, Dominic, so I'm going to get down to business. That's right. You put the reins in my hands, and I'm taking them.
Reins?
That's no. Although this is not a WWE show, but him and Paul Heyman feel like a pretty decent pairing. I don't know if it's going to be quite. I don't know if it's going to be quite what it was with Brock Lesnar, which is clearly what they're going for in the absence of Brock Lesnar. But I don't know. Let's see what happens. Might be some decent creative finally coming out of WWE.
Or it could be the same thing with WWE all the time. Is they'll fuck it up.
I think in all likelihood, they're just going to shit all over it, and it's going to be dumb and pointless, and everybody looks stupid at the end. But, Dominic, somewhere where people did not look stupid, maybe a little, was the MJF and Chris Jericho segment to kick off the show there. What did you think of it?
So, I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I was wondering how people would react about, the split screen at the end. And is that fourth wall breaking or whatever? But I love that they're just so pandering to one another, and they're kind of both cut from the same cloth in a lot of ways. And making Tony Schiavone the middleman in it made it all the more better. I felt. I thought it was a great way to open the show after your pay-per-view. So I liked it a lot. And yet I think they can do. I think that's not the last we'll see of those two together in some form or fashion.
I like it too. I like the fact that they only seem to cross paths pretty rarely, but when they do, it's always pretty memorable. And yeah, they're even before I had ever seen them together, or there was any talk of them being together, I would see MJF and be like, he reminds me of young, cocky Chris Jericho. He's just very good on the mic, and he oozes that heelish aura, like Chris Jericho did in WCW. So, seeing those two together, seeing them, share a ring and stuff, I was the first time that they shared the ring and they did that back and forth about joining the Inner Circle, I was he's joining the Inner Circle, and I'm pumped up. It's a good pairing. So I'm a little bit bummed out that didn't happen, but I don't know. Maybe this is better where they just cross paths every once in a while, and it's always weird and memorable,
Yeah. I think we're destined to see a babyface Chris Jericho go up against a heel MJF at some point, though.
I was thinking the same thing, but then the more I think about it, the more I was like, when AEW first started, Chris Jericho was my favorite heel. Like, he was the best heel in the business. And then they started having him do a bunch of goofy shit, like attacking Jeff Hardy's stupid drone and like this, or Matt Hardy's drone. And I'm sorry to Vanguard. So he attacks Vanguard, and then it's like he's going into a vat of orange juice, and it's like I was taking him as very seriously as a heel there for a while, where it's like, what a piece of garbage. And now it's just like, how can you? He makes it harder to take him seriously as a heel. Even when he was crybaby Chris Jericho, he always says one of his biggest regrets, right, was that he would like fake cry, during matches. Well, I loved it. It was like perfect.
That completely contradicts what you just made. Is like, because yes, it does, because what he's getting at is like him crying made him less of like an established persona that you would take seriously. So him crying took away from that. So what you're complaining about is like him doing all this goofy stuff and taking away from being a serious heel.
No, see, here's the difference, Dominic, is when it comes to him crying, the fact that he would like be on the outside of the ring and be openly weeping and then get back in and actually get some offense on the guy. You're like, you could kick the crap out of this crybaby. Come on. Like it made you hate Chris Jericho more because he'd like kind of get over on the guy in the ring a little bit. You're like, this fucking crybaby is like getting this guy. It's stupid. Like it would like put more heat on him. No, the crying stuff, Dominic, I think it was gold. Going into a vat of fucking mimosa is anything but gold.
Oh, Marcus. Well, that's the thing, and I'm going to take the hosting reins just a bit away from you. Did you get to see any clips of All Out? We know, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and the disclaimer here that Marcus just moved into a new place. He's getting ready to have a kid. He's got a lot of financials that he's trying to balance out, so he's not going to spend $50 on a pay-per-view. And so you didn't see All Out. But
no.
Obviously there was a lot that happened there, and a lot of feedback that came from it, and so a good deal of negative feedback, some positive feedback. So, Marcus, let's just stick with Jericho. Did you see any of the Mimosa Mayhem at all?
I've seen many clips of it. Obviously, we've all seen that. It's now become a meme of him, and like it looks like he's just relaxing in a hot tub of mimosa, which is funny. But yeah, I mean, I've seen plenty of clips of it. I've seen enough to tell me that all of my instincts regarding the match were correct and that it's stupid.
Wrong. I thought it was my second favorite match of the night. Wrong.
Ridiculous.
It was second favorite match. I thought what was so cool about it is they teased the tightrope walking of going into the vat and everything like that. But you got to Jericho put Orange Cassidy over, like super over. And he made it, and like Orange Cassidy took the moment to like be the like a heavy protagonist in it. And like, so you're kind of going along with Orange Cassidy and be like, don't go in there. And he fights back with Jericho. And I thought it was a really well-told story for having two vats of mimosa, which could have been Tang. It kind of looked like Tang in that orange juice. And but like the ending to it all was like he orange punched Jericho into it, and Jericho was just out cold. He didn't flail around like, like over the top, make it crazy or nothing like that. I thought it was a great match, and I think part of it too, it really took away from that scary Matt Hardy moment in the middle of the show that really overshadowed a great deal of that of the rest of the show. Like it overhang over the entire thing, but I thought the Mimosa match kind of kicked me back out of it. And, it was a long pay-per-view. I will say, ultimately, it was my least favorite pay-per-view that AEW has done yet. And there was just a lot of holes with it. And the big thing was the handling of the Matt Hardy incident. But Jericho, that was still my second favorite match of the night.
Well, obviously, Dominic, the Matt Hardy situation was very scary, and I agree. There's there's plenty of space for levity in pro wrestling, and to be lighthearted about things and have fun, because that's why we're all there, right? We want to enjoy ourselves. But like for you, the thing that started making me pop here at the start of what you were saying was you were talking about kind of walking that tightrope of like, whoa. Like, Dominic, those stakes are high when there's barbed wire behind you, or when there's a burning table behind you, or even when there's thumbtacks behind you. The stakes are way less high when there's a fucking beverage that you have with brunch behind you. All right?
The stakes, Marcus, the stakes are high because you could lose the match because of that. That's what the stakes are. Okay, it's ridiculous. Nobody's going to die, but you don't want anybody to die in these matches, Mark. So it's like that having that happen, it made sense for what it was. And let me say this too, is Jericho is Teflon. So these past several months or whatever it's been, where he's kind of been playing the goofy heel more so than the serious heel, he could turn it off just like that and get himself back into the situation of being that serious heel. And I think we're gonna see maybe a little bit more of that as he tags with Jake Hager too.
I'm just saying the same thing could have been and would have been accomplished while using more serious stakes. Why not? Why not have it first blood? Why not have it be tables match? Like there's so many other options where you can accomplish the same thing without having to add the goofy stuff. We've already got goofy stuff, Dominic. It's all over AEW. We've got tons of it. So let's have a serious moment with the guy who earlier in this year and certainly last year was the top heel in the business, in Chris Jericho.
So yeah, ultimately I agree with you. And yeah, like if you think about it, like we said this weeks before, is like that would have been the way to handle it, is put the stakes super high by making it a serious match with something. If you're gonna put a stipulation behind it, put a serious one behind it. But if you kind of look at it from the rearview mirror, it's actually probably pretty good that it ended up have a goofy stipulation because of the Matt Hardy incident. So, because could you imagine if you tried to do another like first blood or no DQ match after they did that broken, quote unquote, broken rules match where he falls through the table, hits his head off the concrete, and then falls through a crash pad later, or gets back into the match to knock Sammy Guevara through a crash pad later on. So
I mean, hindsight is 20/20. I mean, if you book that match and then something like that happens before it, it is what it is. This is the pro wrestling business. And yes, horrible things can happen. There can be some serious injuries. Obviously we don't have to go into all of that that's happened, and then events have continued. There have been some horrific instances of that going down. But like, this is the pro wrestling business, and I'm just saying they need to start thinking about protecting their investment in Chris Jericho, because like he can call himself the demo god, and yes, they did some big numbers this past week with over 1 million viewers, which is incredible. But he is an investment, and he should be protected. I cannot begin to imagine how horrified I would be if a living legend like Bruno Sammartino were to come out and be involved in some stupid angle like that, or a guy like Terry Funk, or like these guys who are established legends in the business, surefire Hall of Famers, coming out doing some silly shit. It's just, I hate the idea of it. I want it to stop with Chris Jericho. It can be fun sometimes. It can be funny sometimes. I love Chris Jericho's sense of humor for the most part. But when it comes to this stuff, it's like, come on, guys. It feels like they're just trying to rib Jim Cornette at this point.
No, I can see that. I think Jericho is a little bit different though than a Terry Funk or a Bruno Sammartino, and how
his they presented differently throughout his career. But you get the point.
I get what you mean. This is a little bit of an aside, but did you happen to see Jericho's tweet that he made to some fan that was like saying like Jericho needs to go away or something like that? He was saying, and Jericho just called him a dipshit. Jericho just called him a dipshit, and then he's like, "You are banned from watching the rest of my matches." He like bans him.
See, like, and that's good stuff. Like him thinking that he has the power to do things that he doesn't actually have, and like I have always loved that stuff about Jericho. But like, come on, let's knock it off with the silly shit. it seems like his program with Orange Cassidy is over, and let's hope that the silliness comes to an end as well. And by the way, if that's the only way for Orange Cassidy to get over is by being involved in silly angles, I don't like where his career is going to wind up. I don't think it's going to end well.
Dude, no. Did you? What about his match? I don't know if you wrote this down on the agenda, but his match that he had on Dynamite, did you write that down?
It's not on there, but we can talk about it.
All right, I do want to talk about it. I thought it positioned him really well in the right direction. Like, because it was pretty much a squash match, right? Like in its overall intention. So because it highlighted what he's good at, and it kind of did get across his personality. Not only the fighting spirit that he carries, but just a little bit of the comedy stuff. So, because like the ending of the match, how did he avoid it? He like just kind of casually sat down in the corner, and the guy like tumbled over, and then he got back and did his move set, finished him off. And I thought it positioned Orange Cassidy in that level that his feud with Jericho got him to. So I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going to go with Orange Cassidy, and I think they positioned him very well. I'm not concerned whatsoever.
I don't know. It's as I've said on this program before. I see him as a very strong structure right now, as far as like his following, and people love what he's doing. I believe I compared him to Goldberg before, which is a very weird comparison. But I compared him to him in that like he's got a lot of buzz surrounding him right now. People are anxious to see his matches. They love what he's doing with the hands in the pocket thing. But like that stuff really only does go so far. Spearing somebody and squashing somebody and kicking the crap out of them and then jackhammering them, that only goes so far. Goldberg was legitimately getting booed by the time Kevin Nash beat him, and they were starting to pipe the Goldberg chants into the arena around that period. So like fans are starting to kind of come away from it. I'm just saying, Orange Cassidy, I think if his career trajectory, it has to involve silly stipulations when it comes to squaring off with big stars, I don't see it going well.
Well, I don't think it's going to go that route. I don't think they're going to take that route.
I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah, I really don't think so. All right, what's next?
All right, since we were talking about MJF, I also did want to talk about MJF fired his entire staff, which is like kind of to be expected. I think that whole campaign thing was really only designed to be for his feud with Moxley. But then he and Wardlow were looking like a little, Nash and Shawn Michaels after Survivor Series '94. He was looking to whoop that ass. But then in classic heel fashion, which by the way I loved, MJF reminded him that he pays his bills and helps him to support his family, and so Wardlow had to kind of back off. So like again, we're building this mystique around not mystique, but we're building this persona with MJF where it's like he is a complete asshole and he holds things over people's head. And like in that moment, I wanted to see Wardlow just clothesline the shit out of him. Because like Wardlow's so much bigger, that he would like kick the crap out of him, but he just couldn't do anything. So it's like it's building anticipation, and it's very clearly starting to push us toward. It probably won't happen and shouldn't happen for like another 6 months, but it's starting to kind of nudge us toward that inevitable crossover where Wardlow turns into a baby face and MJF gets his comeuppance.
Yeah, I thought with it. I was a little bit concerned just because it's like they're showing fracture in the relationship already, and I thought it was ultimately heelish of MJF to do what he did, obviously, and I thought that how he handled it was great, and then Wardlow kind of like I thought Wardlow played it off pretty well too. But like it's like, oh man, you kind of wanted to see them have a strong relationship. And now you just always know that there's tension there, which could be good, but it's also like you kind of know where the chips fall with Wardlow and MJF right now. You know what I mean? Where like,
I kind of like it in that like we know that it's coming. I think all of us do, but it's kind of like it's like having a boss that you absolutely hate. you're going to keep showing up to work. You're getting, because it's money until you find another way to make more money. So you're going to keep showing up to work. You're going to keep doing what you have to do. So I think that Wardlow will continue to protect him. I think that Wardlow will continue to do his job as basically MJF's heavy, his bodyguard. But I think that it's eventually going to get to a point where, like, if your boss got in your face and was screaming at you and you were already miserable at your job, you would finally say, fuck you, and quit. And in this case, the fuck you is going to be, probably him getting clotheslined into oblivion. Yes. So yeah, it's I like it. I think it's fine. I can see him continuing to help and support MJF in spite of his hatred for him. So all right, next, Dominic, I also wanted to talk about Miro. Miro is now part of, he's All Elite, Dom.
Yep.
So what did you think of his debut with AEW, and what do you think about his future with the company?
I really liked his debut, and I know people think it should have been probably bigger, and yeah, you could, and there would have certainly been, you could have done it, and it would have worked. But I think this also works because it gets Kip Sabian over, who's shown personality, and him and his relationship with Penelope has been there, but it's just kind of been in the background at this point in time. Now you pair him up with someone like Miro, and it already elevates that. So you get Miro is a personality that wrestling fans are extremely familiar with. So him being together with those guys, I think elevates a new star, and in turn understates Miro, but his trajectory is only going to head upward. So it's like, you position him right now at this, I think it's fine, and I think it works. And then we'll get to see Miro will get to show more of his personality that we're not used to seeing from a WWE product as we go forward. I kind of like, as bad as and as panned as the angle was with DDP as the Undertaker's stalker was, there was something that was just like, I don't know, kind of engaging to it to me. And maybe that's just me personally, but I just kind of thought it was like, what a weird way to debut Awesome Star. I don't know. And I think this kind of falls in line almost with that for me. So I don't know. I really liked it.
So, and when Kip Sabian came dancing out at the start of that segment, I remember, like, as he was coming out, I was like, he reminds me of Shawn Michaels, and it's just the way he carries himself. He's got this cool look, wearing the sunglasses, super cocky, hot chick with him. He's like, he's doing all the right stuff, and then he starts talking
instead of gum. Sucker instead of gum.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, he's good on the mic too. So, like, he came out, he was holding his own on the mic. I think that him trying to get the Twitch thing over was a little bit annoying, but that's aside from it. I'm not saying he is Shawn Michaels. I'm not saying he's anywhere near as charismatic, but, like, I think that there's potential there. So, like, I'm excited to see that, and I do like the idea of having a guy like Miro come out and kind of support Kip while also making his debut. There were a couple details I wasn't crazy about. I hope that they don't run with this Miro Day thing, because that is just gonna.
Why not?
Let's do something a little bit separate from WWE. And this is the problem: is that I think at its core, WWE has good ideas for creative, and then it's executing them and, like, kind of like making all the fine tweaks on them where they fall short. Like, so for when it comes to Rusev, Rusev Day, cool idea. Fans got into it. Like, it's neat. He's got, like, this very gruff, like, what is he, like, Bulgarian or something? He's got, like, this very gruff, like, Russian sort of vibe to him, like a Nikita Koloff type vibe. He's got that music. It's, like, super loud and, like, just horns, and just, like, he came out and it was a really good presentation. Wound up being poor execution. Excuse me. So now,
execution and follow through. They didn't follow through with it.
Absolutely. But so now out he comes, and it's like a similar sort of a like music thing going on where I kind of heard like the horns and all that stuff, and fans are chanting Miro Day. But like, here's what really got me is he came out looking like I used to look when I had to go to Walmart at like 9:30 at night while I was in college, like just wearing like sweatpants and like a t-shirt and like stupid shoes, and like he just came out looking like a slob. And then it's like, oh, this guy who looks like, you know, the fucking Lost and Found came to life. He's gonna beat people up here. I don't think so. So like he should have come out and like looking like an ass kicker, like a badass, not like some fucking hipster that also likes lifting weights.
That's a fair point. How would you like to see come out? What would you want him to see wearing?
I would have liked to have seen him come out just wearing like normal street clothes, like a pair of jeans, maybe like a tank top or something like that. That would be fine. But like have a very rough exterior, like make it almost seem like he's coming out with Kip Sabian, but like Kip Sabian may have paid him to come out. Like maybe this is Kip Sabian's heavy now, you know, where it's like.
Well, I mean, it's not like exactly Kip was like decked to the nines either. Wasn't he wearing like a midriff, like Stevie Richards kind of vibe?
And that's absolutely perfect for Kip Sabian because he's trying to get heat on him, just like when he's coming out dancing and he's wearing the stupid outfit and he's got the hot chick. Like that is heat. Sucking a lollipop, like he's getting heat on him. So now a guy like that, like Shawn Michaels, who comes out like a male stripper, he needs a guy to come out and protect him from the guys who are gonna inevitably want to kick the shit out of him. And that was Diesel, and it could have been Miro for him. So like I would have preferred to have seen it, not that they're actual best friends, but that Kip Sabian like has recognized that like he's got a kind of a target on his back and he needs a heavy. So he paid him to be his best man and his best friend and his bodyguard.
Well, they are trying to get something over too, is the best man. So there is that. So I mean, I think there will be Miro Day, and I think that might be hopefully more it was more on the fan side of things to chant that rather than like, I mean, if fans are going to chant it, though, obviously AEW is going to market itself to capitalize on it. So
I would nip it in the bud, just like the whole "We the People" crap. And when Chris Jericho said that was a stupid idea by bad creative, and I never heard the fans say it again when Jake Hager came out. So point. Like, I think you got to nip any WWE stuff in the bud. And like let's restart this guy, but like let's not bury him right out of the gate by having him look like an idiot when he comes out instead of a badass.
Well, he just noting. I don't know if you did see it. The shirt was Gucci, so it was a Gucci
I know.
Shirt.
So were the pants, and the shoes were like Kanye's, and I don't give a fuck. I want to see him come out as a badass, Dom, and so I was a little bit disappointed by that.
Do you think maybe it's just your age, Marcus? Maybe you're getting a little long in the tooth. Did you ever think that?
Maybe I see all these young kids with their faces buried in their phones and their newfangled clothes, and I get pissed off. But like, I don't know, man. Wrestling has worked for many years for many of the same easy reasons, and it's like you get heat, you've got a heavy, you've got a small guy that's annoying. He has a guy that protects him. That guy doesn't look like an idiot. He's more intimidating than idiotic. And I feel like they've kind of dropped the ball on that aspect of his debut. Okay. Also, I never want to see him with a live mic ever again. And
what?
I think
Marcus, come on.
No, I don't think he's a good promo. He was. I think he needs a mouthpiece, which could and should be Kip Sabian.
I don't think he's like an amazing promo. I don't think he's a bad promo. I think he's a good promo. Like, can you get some work? Need a little, maybe, yeah. But that's kind of the reason he was getting over, Marcus, was his kind of good ability to just talk. He
needs to talk in sound bites, which is what WWE had him doing by and large.
I mean, obviously you want him to have a direction when he talks and things like that. But yeah, I thought like how he ended the promo and everything. Like, my name is Miro and I'm all elite. I think that was pretty damn cool. Like, I don't know. Like, I I don't I wouldn't cast that shadow yet or cast that die or whatever the hell you want to say. I wouldn't cast any of that. Like, give it a chance. Give it a chance.
My name is Miro and I'm all elite is a great soundbite. What he said at the start, like his first few sentences where he's talking about the glass ceiling and reaching for the brass ring and how it's fake. It's good stuff. I like it, but like short and sweet, I think is the ticket with a guy like that. Which yes, I think he's got an engaging personality. I think he's got an engaging look. But the thing is, I also think, and I think it was pretty evident during that he's not 100% comfortable yet with the live mic in his hand in front of a crowd.
Sure.
I don't think that he is. And so a guy like that could very easily benefit from being the heavy for a guy like Kip Sabian, who's very comfortable with the mic in his hand in front of a crowd. So it's let's maybe to say never have a live mic in front of him again is an exaggeration, but I would limit his time with it
until he maybe gets a little more acquainted with it. Can you say that at least?
Sure. Okay. Hey, look, if he comes out and he turns into one of the best promos ever, fantastic. God bless him. But for right now, he's not, and they shouldn't push that part of him and his character.
Okay.
What did you think of the Omega JR business and this whole, Hangman Page and Dom? I don't think either of us really won that bet from All Out. Do you?
Not yet. The bet's still standing, I think. Like, because I didn't. That was the point. Is like. That's why I made that clarification because, like, I didn't think we might have not have gotten an answer at All Out, even though I think we should have. We should have got some sort of clear cut answer at All Out. But we
views.
Say that again.
Playoffs are supposed to happen at pay-per-views, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I don't know. Kenny's just got to do some work for me, man. He came off in that promo, like at first sounding like kind of like a dismissive asshole. And then more so when the promo got going a little bit, you can kind of see he was taking more of like the babyface route of just like, okay, I got to be a star here and things like that. Like he thanked Tony at the end. But like at first it just his delivery just sounded like kind of heelish in a way. And I don't know if that's the route that I'm predicting he's going heel, but I don't know. I didn't think that maybe was the intent of it. So maybe I'm wrong though, but I don't know. I didn't like it that much, and how he handled himself. I think Kenny is one of those guys in this thing that I don't know. I don't want to say he's scorched earth with me whatsoever, but like there's a lot of work that needs to be done with him. I feel. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Kenny. I can give you my thoughts on Hangman, but if you want to go first with Kenny, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Kenny, the fact that he said that now he's getting into singles competition again and he's ready to stop being a tag team, I found that to be encouraging. I think that that's going to be a strong suit in AEW. It's just like let's focus on being a singles guy, starting to chase some gold. Like Kenny Omega is a guy who I think would stand to benefit from an extended run against a guy like Brodie Lee, where he is chasing down the TNT. He's never held a singles belt in AEW, and he's trying to get a hold of that TNT championship. The Dark Order and Brodie Lee are trying to stop him. I think it could be an interesting angle. I think he needs to figure himself out a little bit more on the mic because you're right, he does come off in a very heelish way. So I mean, obviously he's a great performer, great look. He seems very comfortable with the mic in his hand. I just think that he doesn't always know exactly how to approach it. He's a guy who I think could stand to get coached up a little bit, which will never happen because he's a VP and probably, everybody there is like not going to come up to him and say, hey, great stuff, but start doing this. I think that he's a VP because he's under the impression that he's already got it. So I don't know. I'd like to see some positive change. I'm hoping that it's coming with him in a singles run. Go ahead about Hangman.
Okay, but real quick to add on to that, I really liked Kenny in New Japan. Like, I was like, dude, this guy's an ultimate like badass, and like there's just the whole cleaner and I'm not familiar. I got later on after the cleaner aspect of him, but like to see him like go up against like Okada and whoever else he was feuding with at the time, I was like, this guy's got something. And, like, he's got a great look. He's got, like, everything ready to roll. And he was good on the promos from what I saw, too. And it's just like, I don't know what happened since he's came to AEW. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's clicking at all. And it's not clicking for me. Like, seeing him here and there on Being the Elite, I do like aspects of how he handles himself on there. But again, not a much smaller audience is watching Being the Elite than what they are watching on AEW Dynamite. So
it feels to me like all the guys who are kind of in power in AEW are not allowing themselves to get over so that they can get other people over.
I get that. I get it, but you are stars.
I'm telling you that I disagree with it. I don't think it's the right move because these guys are who brought a lot of these fans to the table, right? Like Kenny Omega being who he was is what brought fans to the table. I don't see any value in Cody Rhodes saying I will never make a run for the AEW championship again in this company. Why? What's the point? You're the top babyface in the company. Why would you say that you're not going to do that?
With that, I feel that adds intrigue because he's going to go for the title at some point. Something's going to happen. He's never going to go for the title. So I'm not so dead set on that being like, oh God, that's bad to do. I think that creates a little more intrigue in my opinion.
Well, I think that these guys should be unafraid of putting themselves over. I think that there's that stigma where, like, the guys who are in charge, like Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair, they would put themselves over at other people's expenses. Well, Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair are two of the biggest stars in the history of professional wrestling, and probably as a result of putting themselves over. And they deserve to be in the positions that they were in, clearly, because they're two of the biggest stars in the history of the business. So, like, it's fine to put yourself over at the expense of younger talent. But when you start saying, like, well, hey, my cousin's coming in, so I'd like this younger talent to put him over, that's when you're starting to be incorrect in your practices. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. Hangman?
You can go ahead on Hangman, yeah.
Yeah, Hangman, I like how he handles himself. I feel I don't know about, like, being the despondent, like, kind of like I've got a lot of stuff affecting me and everything like that. I don't know how I necessarily feel about that yet, but ultimately, like, I like Hangman and I really want him to stay babyface. And I think what needs to happen is some sort of, like, moment where somebody, I don't know who, is in dire straits, but Hangman comes on all cylinders and just cleans house in some form or fashion, whatever that may be, and how it gets done. But yeah, the Hangman segment I thought was a little bit better than the Omega segment. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I think Hangman's a natural. I can see value in him as a babyface or a heel. I don't really care who goes babyface or heel as a wrestling fan here. I like one of the two of them has to, though, in my opinion, for this story to play correctly. They were a tag team. They're not a tag team. There's dissension. Somebody has got to go heel. Somebody's got to remain babyface, and that helps to create stakes in a matchup between the two. So one of the two needs to. I guess if I had a preference, I think I'd like to see Hangman try heel, just because I think he'd be good at it. Plus, he's a big guy, and he could very easily get heat on smaller opponents. So I think I'd like to see that happen. I think it could be interesting to see him match up with a team like FTR. I hope that they don't do the whole, like, new Four Horsemen thing, because that's annoying and played out. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him in a stable with FTR and seeing what he can do as a heel.
Okay. This is a perfect segue for something specific, Marcus. Where are you going to lead this?
Well, I was going to talk about FTR a little bit. I don't really know that it's 100% necessary. It's a good segment. Overall, I thought it's good. I think that they're, like, very much trending upward, and you can tell that they're really trying to put a lot of value on the tag team championship, where they're saying, like, yeah, like, the best world championship, we are the best tag team champions in the world. So, like, I thought that was cool that they're trying to put a lot of value on that. So really, Dominic, and actually, talking about FTR, yeah, in and of itself is a good segue for what I'm going to say is going to be the last segment before your thing at the end here. Let's talk a little bit about you had received or you responded to a tweet by somebody who was talking about how there's so many WWE stars in AEW that he thought jokingly that he was watching WWE programming. And so you and I kind of pounced on that narrative a little bit on Twitter. Do you care to expound upon that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a ridiculous notion to keep going back upon. Like, TNA, sure, they really, were WWE light in a lot of ways. And, they didn't try to branch out creatively in a lot. And when you look at TNA, too, you look at all that young talent that they had there. Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels was an established talent there, one of their talents. But Frankie, then you had,
Frankie Kazarian, Motor City Machine Guns.
Motor City Machine Guns. We could go on for days. And Eric Young. But they just, put out WWE. Hey, look at the stars we got from WWE. They're now on our program. And they didn't mesh them together. They didn't do anything. They didn't handle it right. This is a different case where these guys, WWE didn't handle guys like Zack Ryder or guys like Rusev, or guys like FTR properly. And, or Brodie Lee. Or Moxley. So it's like they didn't get their shot. Really, they did not get their shot like WE guys got, like a Kurt Angle got, who else, Marcus? Like a Sting got from his career, or all these different Booker T, so on. So you can keep going, like Nash, Hall, all these guys, Hogan, all these guys. So it's now they are getting their chance to do what they should have been able to do in WWE. So it's this is not, and they're top stars. They're released stars from a company that, and some of them weren't released. Some of them willingly left. Like Cody willingly left. Dustin willingly left. FTR willingly left. Brodie Lee willingly left. It's they all wanted to get the fuck out of there. So these top stars are not gonna go to somewhere on the indies. They're not gonna run an indie streak if there's another mainstream fucking wrestling product on the program that you can watch. They're gonna go to it. Yeah. Where do you want them to go?
Where do they suggest that they go to make money? And if you're AEW, do you say these guys are incredibly talented, they're awesome stars, they've got a ton of name value and facial recognition value. But that being said, we don't want to be other WWE, so forget them. No, let's leave them on the open market. That's stupid and it's bad business. And look, man, it's what Vince was AWA light. Right?
Yeah. I mean, because Hulkamania was established in the AWA. He was not. Hulkamania was in AWA. It was not in WWE. That's the narrative that WWE wants you to dismiss. But Hulkamania was running wild in Minnesota in AWA before it was in New York. So
Kurt Hennig was a big star in AWA. Larry Zbyszko was. Scott Hall got his start over there. There's so many. Bobby the Brain Heenan, Mean Gene Okerlund. I mean, we could go on forever. Vince saw these talents and he wanted them and he acquired them. And sometimes by dishonorable methods, he would go about getting these guys. Whereas here's Tony Khan. He's like, hey, these guys are free. These guys are literally just sitting at home. Talented guys who I'd love to have on my roster. I'm picking them up. And why wouldn't you? It's a stupid narrative, and I hope that people kind of see this for what it is. Look, this is yes, there's plenty of professional wrestlers out there in the world right now. If you count all the indies and everywhere, there's thousands of people in the professional wrestling business right now. But the thing is that there's only so many people that have television time in the professional wrestling business, and that creates equity in those people where they've had figures created of them. The people have seen their toys and T-shirts in stores. So like the fact that you can have a guy like that now as part of your company, that creates a lot of equity for you and your company. Because if somebody's flipping through the channels and they're like, "Hey, isn't that guy that I saw in that T-shirt at fucking Kmart?" You know, so then all of a sudden you're like, "That guy's I saw him on a T-shirt at Kmart. That guy's a star. What's this? What's he doing?" You know, so it's silly to do any other thing. So I hope that people start to use their heads and drop that silly narrative.
And what's very crazy about it all, too, Marcus, is we talk about AWA and we talk about like them jumping over to WWE. Well, and this is kind of more WWE focused than it is what AEW. But AEW is in a roundabout way what WWE was in the '80s, because Vern Gagne didn't see the high potential of Hulk Hogan. He didn't want to position him as the top star for them. Vince McMahon saw that and then just blew it up further. So and some of those stars were already established in AWA, and like everybody says too that AWA Bobby Heenan was like as engaging and awesome as WWF Bobby Heenan was. He was 10 times more himself, or like more of what Bobby Heenan was in AWA. So it's like, so to kind of look at like somebody like bringing over Hulk Hogan, like it's almost like people are gonna be like, oh my god, like you're comparing Moxley to Hulk Hogan, but like you're bringing over Moxley, who Vince saw a ceiling with him and did not go with it. AEW has taken Moxley over and has let him grow and do his thing. And, and I think, in my opinion, has made himself a very strong, established champion. So, like, and a good face of the franchise, so to speak. So, yeah, man. You happened to miss this, Marcus. This was the perfect segue. It was right in your lane. You could just swung and hit it. We talked about heels. We talked about the Elite. The Young Bucks were clearly heels this week.
Oh, well, yes. And, of course, they had their match with Jurassic Express, which, by the way, I did want to mention because this is the first time I've been watching, and I've finally seen that Jungle Boy is a star. I can say definitively after watching him and the way that he moves, and just like he's very fluid in the ring. He really, you can tell he's very well practiced, knows what he's doing. He looks like $1 million. He is a star. And I hope that he gets out of Jurassic Express soon, becomes Jungle Jack Perry, and makes a run.
Listen, Marcus, I'm as each week passes by too, I'm more and more with you as like they have to, like, this Lucha Express thing's got to evolve or it's got to blow up. Something's got to happen. Like, because it's, Luchasaurus is like sort of over, like what you see, like from the reaction he gets from crowds. But it's no joke. It's the same shit week in and week out. And it's got to evolve. And you don't want Jungle Boy to get like just underneath all that. Like, it's too much gaga. And that's kind of what I appreciated about like what FTR said. It was a heel promo, but they're like, we don't want jokes to be our champions, like to represent us, our tag team division. And they said that directly to Jungle Express. So it's like, I'm with you kind of guys. I'm with you guys. Like, you don't want that. And I don't want to say like there's that Luchasaurus isn't capable of getting something or being a star in his own right, because I think he can be. But where it's at right now, how he's handling himself right now in the ring, I think it's just, I don't know, from a ardent fan standpoint, I don't like seeing it, and it's got to change, I feel, in my opinion. And I know you feel the same way. And maybe even a little bit more extreme to that level.
I do, and I can see where Luchasaurus, I can see the value in him. I really do. But he has to position himself differently. Excuse me. He has to position himself differently if he is going to make anything of himself in the business. When you do the same kicks and the same flips all the time early in the match, not even as like a significant spot where it's like, holy crap, that big guy just did an incredible flip. Like that should be like something like, hey, this match is really coming down to the wire. He's pulling out all the stops, not as like a transitional spot. So he's got to change his approach. Maybe not change the look since that's, I guess, what's over. But like, how about like, I remember another guy coming out in a big guy. He comes out wearing a mask, very intimidating. Wasn't silly. The mask and getup could have been misconstrued as silly. But like it wasn't. It was intimidating. It screamed more of Jason Voorhees than anything, to be laughed at. And that was Kane. You could easily have laughed at Kane and in like his stupid red outfit with like one sleeve missing and like he's wearing like a mask and like very easily could have been a joke guy. But they position him as somebody who is intimidating, somebody who turn up and ruin the match for somebody else. Like they made him what he was. And they could do the same thing for Luchasaurus. Let's try a different presentation.
Yeah. No, it's something that they got to work on, I feel. It's something I don't think they can't keep going with the route they're going with Jungle Express and everything like that, because I think it is damaging to Jungle Boy ultimately on the route they're going right now. But like some stuff has to change. It's got to change.
I think it's got to be a heel turn by Luchasaurus. Have him come after Jungle Boy. And then like, so when you see Luchasaurus in that mask, like if you came down to your basement, you flick on the light, obviously if there was anybody standing there, it would scare the crap out of you. But like if you come down to your basement, flick on the light and you've got that mask right in front of your face, it would be terrifying. It could be a scary mask for a big scary heel. And with this, it's just silly fun, haha stuff. And
I'm not with you on a heel turn though. I understand where you're coming from with the heel turn, but I just feel like Luchasaurus is over with kids, and to take that away, I think is it's not a good move to do. I just think he needs to be repositioned. Something different needs to happen. You either split Jurassic Express up, or you got to really, really think something out for these guys instead of just having them do their same shtick week in and week out that we're just desensitized to seeing now. So
here's my counter to that. Here's my counter to that, and then we can get into the closing segment. Is that John Cena was also very, very much over with kids and selling tons of merchandise. And he was like kind of like the happy-go-lucky, I can do anything baby face. But like, just imagine, Dom, if in like 2012, 2011, that era, John Cena made a heel turn, how much it could have really popped the territory, and how much money they could have made with him as a heel while building a guy like Roman Reigns. I think that was a missed opportunity, and having a big guy with an intimidating look like Luchasaurus not be a heel, again, a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know. There's time. Oh, there you go.
Sorry, I got a phone call I had to decline.
Okay.
So, all right, let's get to the final segment, though. We're going over, Dom.
Well,
the tape machine.
We are going over. Let's real quick. We have to talk about the main event with Dustin and Brodie Lee. Yeah. Give me. I'm turning the tables now. Give me your thoughts on that. What's going on with that?
I thought it was great. I thought that Dustin looked incredible in the ring. Glad that Brodie got a clean win. That's exactly the way it should have gone. So yeah, it's. I thought it was a great way to close the show. It's a good example of what AEW is capable of for a main event. That's a perfect main event for an AEW Dynamite. Doesn't necessarily need to be on a pay-per-view. Certainly shouldn't be the main event of a pay-per-view. But as a main event for AEW Dynamite, I'm there all day. Well-told
story, concise, simple. You had a clear-cut babyface, clear-cut heel. Dustin got some awesome offense in that, like, it's jaw-dropping for his age to be able to do like that standing Hurricane Rana from the top. That's just amazing, man. And like, and just like, I'm just such a fan of Dustin too, so it's just like to see that is really cool for him to be able to do that on a stage, TNT in the main event, and go up against a star that you're trying to establish too in Brodie Lee. Just super cool for a super cool title. Well done, main event. And looking forward to seeing where they go with the Dark Order. I'm really liking Dark Order right now too. I don't care like how they were beforehand. I think they got them in a good position, and all the elements that are there. Like you have John Silver running around like during the match it was just an added, and like Brodie Lee's like shoving him in the way of like offense and stuff. It was funny and it was good. It's just like this Brodie Lee's a crazy asshole, man, and it's good stuff.
Yep. I think that Brodie Lee, despite what I've heard from some sources that I respect, I think that he's charismatic. I think he's got a great look, and I think that for a guy his size, he's pretty incredible in the ring. So, Brodie Lee, in my opinion, he should be a future AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
Yep, and I love this little segment I sent you to on Being the Elite, where he's like, "Oh, what is that? What's your Twitter?" He's like, "This is in the Evil Uno's like, it's Instagram." He's like, "Twitch is dead."
Yeah, he was like, "No third parties."
No third parties. Twitch is fucking dead. Like that's some cool shit. Like ultimately, it makes. I don't know, like you want him to be an ultimate badass heel, but it's like I don't think that has any like kind of thing, any kind of bearing otherwise on it. Real quick too, we have to mention, what'd you think of Lance Archer and Jake the Snake too?
Still having a hard time after the whole shirt ripping incident.
Still feeling the effects.
Struggling to get past that. I think that scarred me worse than it scarred Jake. But no, I mean, like, again, money guy, for sure. Certainly easy to position him with somebody like Jake and, like, watch the money roll in. They've just got to do it the right way. I'm already sick of his tagline that everybody dies.
I love that. No, I love that, man. I think that's bad.
Doesn't really even make sense to me. Like, that's a thing that you say
Everybody does die. What doesn't make sense about that, Marcus? Everybody does die.
It's something that you say to children at their first funeral. Like, hey, look, that's something that happens to everybody. So, like, I think it's weird and unnecessary. And
everybody
they
dies because Lance Archer is going to make sure that happens.
They're like shoehorning it into the conversation at the end, and it's how they end every promo. It's just, I don't know, it's weird. By and large, money. Let's never rip a fucking shirt off Jake the Snake ever again.
This is what I want to have happen, Marcus. They announced it for October 14th on that Dynamite. It's Lance Archer going for that title. Lance Archer has to win that match, I feel. And I feel he should win the match. I think he should be the new champ, and you have him just go on a tear. And you can have Moxley go up against maybe a heel Omega. You can have him maybe go up against not MJF, obviously, but like Jericho. You can do some stuff. There's other people I'm not thinking of, but get him against some guys. But Lance Archer, I think, should win the title because he lost the TNT title match. You don't want him to lose the AEW World Title match because that's an opportunity to give yourself a new star right there.
I agree. But the only way that he should go over is if they properly book him between now and then. And by that, I mean, like, let's exhibit him. Let's get him in the ring with, like, an upper mid card guy and have him just put a whooping on him. Let's really start to establish him and raise the stakes. The way it stands right now, he's a guy that gives promos every once in a while and has occasionally terrorized an old man by tearing his shirt off. And destroying a bunch of short people that he finds backstage.
As a short person myself, I should be offended by that, but I really like it actually.
I am not crazy about it at this point. Let's see a little bit more depth with him, other than him just like being this ball of rage that tends to hang out backstage more than he does in the ring, and has this old guy cutting promos for him who he'll occasionally embarrass every once in a while. So I'd like to see a little bit more.
You remember the old stage adage at Clarion University, find your light, Marcus? You remember that? Find your light? Well, yeah. Find your fucking light and move a little bit more center, will you? You're just there you go. Like
It's starting to hurt. I'm sitting
It
for
looks
too
like
long.
you're half the fucking movie cover or the movie poster of Face Off. So I've not seen John Travolta on the other side. Okay.
I got I got the Shawn Michaels back right now, Dom. It's hurting.
Oh boy. Close it out. All right.
Fucking wrap this up here.
New segment. It's Marcus and I growing up as kids. We got a little bored, but we're also very artistic. So we would create Monopoly boards, but wrestling themed. So we did what did we do, Marcus? We did a WCW one, right? Did we do one?
Yeah, I thought we just did WWE where we had like Razor Ramon. Yeah.
No Razor Ramon. It was all Attitude Era guys, I think. I think we did do a WCW one. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
You know what? We did. They were both WWE. We did like all-time WWE Monopoly, and then we did Attitude Era WWE Monopoly.
That's what we did. And then we also did one for our EFED that we were in. Remember that one?
I do.
We were
dorky.
Nerdy.
Go ahead.
Dorky, nerdy, chubby Italian kids.
Yes.
But I thought it'd be kind of cool to conceptualize an AEW Monopoly. And who would necessarily be on the board is what my thinking. And so let's start off pretty easy, pretty direct. The two most famous spots on Monopoly board, like as property, is Boardwalk and Park Place. And I'm going to tell you who I think should be on Boardwalk of AEW Monopoly and who should be on Park Place. So Boardwalk, Chris Jericho should be the Boardwalk of AEW Monopoly. First ever champion, established star, and I think that's kind of where I should base the board around is if you're an established talent, how long have you been in the business that people know you, and how connected to AEW are you two at this moment in time? So that's how I'm going to go about it. So Boardwalk, Chris Jericho, Demo God, Le Champion, he's on there. Park Place, Cody Rhodes, AEW TNT Title champion, first ever one. Pretty damn synonymous with AEW. And the fact that he is that first ever title holder and the legacy that his family has in wrestling. And I think he was the really torchbearer of good matches for AEW in those beginning stages and continued to do so. I don't think he's really let the pedal off the gas in how he storytells in his matches. So boom, Boardwalk, Chris Jericho, Park Place, Cody Rhodes. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's good. And, if you're doing it based on like reputation and current standing, then yeah, I mean, I think that those two are two pretty obvious ones. Now, I'm going to do mine a little bit differently. I'm going to do mine based on who I think have the most potential, right? As of this week, following this past Dynamite.
Wait, so you're doing it as a week-to-week basis? You're going to change? Because this is going to be your only Boardwalk, and this is going to be your only Park Place, Marcus. You're not going to get another shot at this.
I thought this was a fluid thing that we were changing all the time.
We're not going to go through the whole damn Monopoly board, like every show. I got to do it. I'm doing it piece by piece here. So, like, next week, it's going to be maybe the next set of properties. I'm not running down through, like, St. Charles to damn... we're not going to jail. We're not going to go to Baltic Avenue, man. We're sticking with Boardwalk and Park Place, and then we're moving on.
Well, all right then. Well, in that case, I mean, how can you argue it? Really, I guess I would just flip flop them. So for me, Boardwalk, Cody Rhodes. He's the face of the company. He's the flag bearer of the company, and he should be probably always in contention for the world championship in the company. And then it's next has got to be Chris Jericho, the old guard, established superstar. Kind of like as I've compared him before. He's to this company what Hulk Hogan was to WCW in like 1993, 94. So yeah, it's got to be those two.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think it's too debatable on that one. But yeah, so each week we'll go through a different part of the board. We'll also do game pieces. That's going to be a fun one when we get to that point. I think that'll be pretty cool to have stuff like that on there. So yeah, man. How do they find?
We've got to make and sell this board, and then get sued by AEW.
You can find that.
You can find me on Instagram at Marcus P. D'Angelo.
No, not Instagram, you dope. Not Instagram.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Hey, look, I think I got a bulging disc. I'm gonna have to take 4 years off of this podcast.
You lost your smile.
I lost my smile here, Dom. No, on my Twitter, Marcus P. D'Angelo and Dominic. They can find you where on the Twitter?
At Dominic D'Angelo, you can find me on Twitter. You can also find WrestleZone, the website I write for, and that represents this podcast, at WrestleZone.com. And you can go to WrestleZone.com for all your wrestling writing news needs.